Hello. Today we'll learn something about making dashboards. I was sharing this a few years, which will help anyone to understand why dashboards are required. So for that, it's always better to understand the basics. You should have why dashboard is required is majorly for analysis purposes. You can have visual analysis. You can have you can see the trend of what all database which you have. Also to have a quick glance or overview of the data to represent the data in a better way. And last but not the least, to have a better presentation. So we'll cover up the following in maybe in short. If I say we have to have, if the raw data is given to us, we have to have something where we can organize the raw data, which I'll be showing you, and then we'll make it a table out of it. Then there'll be usage of pivot tables, which will also be explained. And then I'll try showing you different data dashboards, which are based on, there'll be different like pie diagrams, like histo, like there'll be many others as well. I'll be showing you in brief all those things. So first and foremost, so this is the raw data which we have. So as you can see, there's some space concern in this. I was showing somebody, so let me delete it first. As you can see, there's some mismatch in the space, and it's not trimmed basically. So everywhere you see, we should have a data which is correct. So for that, the best option would be to use a function called trim. So let me just try using that over here. If I trim and use, this is a function I've written, and take this as a cell D2 and then close the bracket and say enter. So this is the one which we're looking for. So it will trim all the extra spaces which are there. So as you can see, now one is I can keep copying it using shift and or maybe spacebar. Or best would be that I'll take my cursor towards left or towards right, because then I using control and drop down arrow, the down arrow, I can go right to the end, the last line which is there in this table. So using this, I can, and going on this column E, the space, I can press control and shift, and if I use the upper arrow, it'll highlight everything. See, I'm using upper arrow, it's taking me right on the top. If I'm using the down arrow, it's bringing to the end, to the last row. So I'll use the upper arrow and I'll bring it down to the column, to the row 3, and then press enter. So what it'll do is, it'll trim all those which are there. All the cells of B column are trimmed in column E. Okay, so this is all done. Now we don't need this. If we delete just like that, since the formula is already put in, this will also be deleted. It will show as reference. So we can't do this. Let's first, copy paste this as special, or maybe in 1, 2, 3. I'll show you how it's done. I have to highlight this first and foremost. I'll put state out here. I'll copy this in this cell, and then I'll highlight from Florida to the last row, which is 153. Again, Florida is coming, and I'll show you. Then this is to be copied. I'll press Control C, so you can see the dotted. This has been copied. Now where should I place it? I'll be putting in the same row, but using this one, the values. Because if I use this, the function will still be there. That you can see the trim is still there. So using special will formula. So it's basically showing me all those the values. Okay. Now it's all done. So I'll delete this. Also, just for information, see, there's this region now. It's all east, west, north, south. Now, since it's not given, it's only in initial, capitals are given. So I'll put this. There are two ways I can do it. One is I'll highlight this and say Control F and start using. I'll say find E and then replace it with east. That's one way to do it. Replace all. As you can see, it's replaced 22 cells down below. Or best would be that I can instead of doing this, I'll press Control Z, Control Z to go back. Instead of doing this, what you can do is, see, there's some great functions in Excel. See, one is I'll highlight this by highlight the whole table by using Control A. Control A to highlight. This will highlight the whole column, whole table. I'm sorry. Fine. So what I'll do is using Control A, I've highlighted this. Now, see, I can use the two options. One is I can go to data and do the sorting out here. Okay. And using this sort by, now the column number is E. So I can use this as region. I can do this and say, okay, that's one option. And then, start replacing it putting east and, likewise copying it down below and using it north. Or otherwise, I'm pressing Control Z. Or otherwise, I can filter it as well. Filter, and then see, since the table was used and, it's giving a wrong filter. It's giving from the second row. It should be giving from the first row. So I'll say Control Z, Control Z, and then I'll do the filtering on the overall part. Control A, I've pressed. It's taken the whole table. So I'll use filter out here. Okay, and then I can go to region and I can select. For example, I selected E. So now what all, I can replace all E's out here, and likewise for north, for south, for east, for west, everything can be done likewise. There's another option just for information that I can press. There's an option. There's a short form I'm sharing with you. That's you can press Alt plus D plus F plus F. Okay, so if you do this, you again will be the same. It's a plus out here. Okay, it's plus plus plus. So I'll say Alt. Okay, so what I'll do is I've highlighted this again by Control A, and then I'm pressing Control D F F. So you can see, automatically it's filtered everything. The filter, instead of going to this, I'm using only the keypad to, not using mouse, only using keypad to filtering on this. So this is another way to filter. So I've just shared you the option now. Coming back to the the file we were discussing. So what I'll do is I'll say I'll assume I'll put it E, and then or maybe I can sort it also instead of highlighting this. I can say sort by A to Z. I'll use this, highlight everything, say okay, and then I'll sort it. So what I'll do is I'll show everything, and it'll give this. So it'll be easy for me to use and to highlight this east I've given. Now it'll take a while for me to highlight this, and then this is west. Okay, so west been selected up to it's a big file, so up to here I've selected it, paste, and likewise I'll do for north and south. Sorry guys, it's taking a while, but that's the way it is. Patience and consistency. South. Oh, so this is south, and it's almost done. Now highlighting it and we're closing it. Okay, so okay, now we have this file. So file is ready to become a table. How to make a table is select Control A, go to Insert, and go to Table. Simply press this table, and it's asking for the specification, the data, the cells. So cells from A1 to L153. I said okay, and table is made. Now you can select. See the color. If you don't like this color, you may select orange. You may select blue color, black color, any color you like, or violet or whatever. So this is all done. Now see, first phase is all done. Okay, now this is basically organizing data. So making a table, and now we'll work on the pivot tables. How to make it simple and straight. See, one is you go to insert. You go purely as per the recommended pivot tables, which is out here. This, you can use this so-called AI in Excel. So what all it, those different features which are there in Excel, maybe we don't hardly use it. It's always better to use and see what it's not been highlighted. So we'll highlight it once again and then say recommended pivot tables. So it's saying you couldn't get data on the workbook. So press OK. Once again, we'll use it. So now see, we already highlighted table. Now using AI of Excel, simply say recommend, and showing all those different options which are available. So one is to have a leisure, to have easygoing. We can select one of those and say okay out here. It'll be selected. Or if you want to trouble yourself and do the workings yourself, I'll maybe delete this file, delete, and then what you can do is you can go to pivot tables, and you can say from this range. The range is already been selected. Okay, still it's asking. So table one is selected. Now it's asking new worksheet or existing worksheet. So I'll press new. New in the sense, if I go to existing worksheet, it'll ask for in the same worksheet, it'll ask for a place or a cell where the pivot table have to be inserted. Whereas if I go to new worksheet, it'll open a new worksheet, and I'll demonstrate it. It'll open a new worksheet, and then the pivot table can be made over there. As you can see, new worksheet has been created. Sheet one. In fact, let me name this as data or maybe raw data. Okay, it'll be easy for us. And this is your pivot. So we'll be using this file for our future reference. So that's why we're given this. Now you can see this. The moment I take the cursor inside this box, inside this pivot table, this pivot table field comes automatically. So what I'll do is maybe I'll select. I'll share the option what all you can do in pivot table. You can see even filters, columns, rows, and values. These are different fields where all the data. This is all my database which is there, which I've created, the raw data. Now we'll be making pivot table all of this data using this filter, column, values, and rows. I'll show you how we are doing this. But before that, I'll maybe explain you that it's not restricted to this place only. You can, if you want to carry it along with, you want to bring it, maybe you want to change the specification, or maybe you want to put this on the right side, you can do that. Or you want this to be maybe to reduce. You want only the field section, only field section is shown. It's all different options which are there. You want the area to be given highlight, or you want the area maybe in the row wise. So it's something which is nicely you can you want to, in fact, you don't want to have this on the right side. You want to carry it along with. So you can in fact take it, move, and you can bring it out here in the column somewhere, in the sheet somewhere, and you can start using it. So, but better would be to have this the place where it actually belongs, which is on the right side. So I've removed it. Let me put it back. So So, what I explained is, bringing it back to this place. Now I'll show you how, see what all data you want. For example, see, pivot is basically more of expressing the data in the right fields and to understand the value of the columns or the rows. I'll explain you what I mean. See, if I put a date, if I put maybe country out here, putting filter country out here, if I say country, see, it's going in rows. I'll maybe bring it down here. As you can see, it's showing different rows. You can see, if I click this, it's showing me all you, because we have California, New York, and also in US, so it's showing this. So it's not, let me take state. So you can see, it's showing in the rows. I can bring it to the columns as well. If I see, it's just a matter of pulling it and bringing it out here. So state, if I bring it under column, it's showing under columns. And see, what I want, basically, I want to see maybe the what do you call, profit in all those different states. So simply by bringing profit to values, it will give me the total profit, which are some of the profit which every state have got, along with the grand total. Okay. Now I don't want this in columns. I want in the row. Simply pick and drag and drop. It's going in rows. So it's simple. It's like pick and drop, and you'll find all the details. So now let's try, working more on the pivot. So what I'll do is I'll try putting categories as well. So category I put in the column. So what it's showing is in different states under different heads like accessories, electronic gadgets, different profit, that some profit which is earned. I don't need profit. I'll remove it. And what I'll do is I'll bring say unit price or maybe revenue. What revenue have every state has gained. So accessories. Now this is showing the revenue part. If you see a total, little match to your the raw data total which is coming down below. Okay. So in fact, it's always better to sum that as well and put it across in all up to here. Okay. No, it's filtered. That's why it's not taking. It's filtered in some. I'll maybe if I was sharing. If I do sum out here, 1 second. See, I'm taking it to this, and I'll press enter. See, it's taking subtotal, whereas I need to have sum out here. So I'll go to sum and I'll say okay, and I'll highlight this. One of the options, or you can use arrow keys as well. It's showing spill. Why? Because it's giving an error where it's showing only in profit. Maybe the formula has not been put in. I'll try it again. Best would be I'll do sum and I'll use the arrow key and shift and control and arrow key up and then close, enter. There you go. Old classical way to do this. Now, see why it's taking the same is because it's copying the same profit out here. Okay, we didn't use filter, so we have to use it separately out here. So I'll show you maybe by using a different mode. I'll use this time the sum. Okay, and see it's taking the right figure now. Likewise, I'll go and click this, and similarly out here. Okay, so good way seeing this mistake so that we can try improving and closing what all issues which are popping up. So pivot table, see one, I was claiming, we can use unit. In fact, you can further segregate this. You want this, maybe what salesperson have done, what kind of, sales these guys have done. I like to maybe put the salesperson out here in say columns. So I'll drag the salesperson and put it out here. So you can see, in accessories, California, Bob had done the total. This is showing what Alice has done, what Bob, what Clara, what Jane, what John, different things. Like John, for example, has done wonders in California only. He's not able to achieve anything out here. So basically, as you can see, this pivot table is giving with just one pivot, it's giving the overall glance of what all achievement a person has done. Now this is what it's showing as a sum of revenue. You like to see the profit, simply remove this, and instead of revenue, click on profit. See the profit is shown. It changes. So this pivot table, which is I will be using in dashboards, which I'll show you later. Okay, so and it also now I don't need salesperson in the column row. I need it in the rows. How beautifully it's shown. See, California LS is done. Maybe under accessories is done, achieved this much of profit. Electronics is done $5,355 gadgets, and this is showing as total grand as well. Now we can modify. You want to change the column, you want to change this. This is all in Excel. The best part is what all modification you seek, you can do that. Okay, so we'll be showing you further. And so I hope this pivot table is all clear. In filter also maybe I'll share how to use filter. For example, you have the states. Instead of putting states out here, I can put this in filter. So you can see all is appearing this filter. Filter over there on the state. Now you go to filter, you have seen this as overall you're saying, you go to California and say, okay, it'll show you only the California records. For example, you like to go and see what Florida has done, say, okay, now you can see, remember I was sharing about this John, that, he's not achieved anything, he's showing blank over there. So when the data is not there, it will show as blank. The best part is Excel doesn't play around, it shows whatever data which is available, it represents that. So, and if I want to show all, then, I press on this and then I'll say, okay, show everything. So this is more of how pivot table is being used. Now we'll be using this to access different dashboards, which will be the next topic.